morning, hope you're well. We are back on this job again. So if you watched the last video, we've just started, we're building a set of, or if you didn't watch the last video, oh, nearly tripped over, we're changing the front axle on the air cart, on our air-seater cart to casters. So I'm just using the old axle as a jig. Yeah, so we're just chipping away at that. I mentioned on the last one we had to drill a few holes. I think they were two and a quarter inch. We'll need a couple of holes, 2¼ inches to suit the pivot shafts. I actually managed to get what I was trying to describe to you. Our local bearing bolt tool shop had one of these, so it's actually 60 mil. Our shaft is 2¼ inches, which in Imperial is about 57.5 mil or something thereabouts. So we're going to have a little bit of clearance, but that won't matter. We can fill that bit up with weld, so we can start and bore them now. Hopefully that little gadget there is 200 bucks. So yeah, I think it must be money anyway. So yeah, yesterday we had a benchmarking meeting here with sort of five or six other farming families. It's a thing we've been part of for I think 4 years now. So it was just a general catch up, see where everyone's at, and yeah, where they've been spending their money, or yeah, improvements or farms they've bought or that sort of thing. So yeah, that was really good catch up. If you watched the last video, I was talking about our rice planting area. So I made a phone call yesterday, and actually one of the ladies there yesterday, she actually works for Rice Extension part-time, so she was able to give us a bit of an idea of what's going on. So it's looking like we probably won't grow any rice, and it may be the last time we might not grow rice again. So where we're up to, or how it works is, so basically they're going to take your 3-year average of tonnes delivered. So because we've only delivered last year, and we delivered, just shy of 500 tonnes, you divide that by 3, so that gives us about 160 tonnes, and then they're only going to pay the full pool price on 75% of that 160. So that equates about 120 tonnes. So at that, that only, when you work it back to hectare area, it's not even 10 hectares. We averaged over 13 tonne last year, so 10 hectares of rice is not, it's just not worth doing. So there's a meeting in a couple of weeks I'm going to go to and just get a bit more clarification. But at this point in time, we won't have any rice in this year, so we won't start and flatten stuff yet. But we'll just there's about 16 hectares there that we can convert over to border check pretty easily. So the plan is we'll put it in corn, and then we'll work out what we're going to do with the other area over summer, whether we just take it back to border check flood bays as well, or we flatten it all together, or yeah, we'll just suck it and see with that one. So anyway, we just need to move with it, be agile on our feet. Yeah, we've just got to roll with it and yeah, move the business to where we can, and yeah, so obviously rice isn't a major part of our business, but it, summer crop has been in the past. So yeah, if we'll just sort of effectively swap rice area for corn. Yeah, so anyway, it is what it is. So what I've done here, getting back to this job, I've just started to work out, and the sun's probably in the wrong spot, the angle of the caster. So what I've got here, and this is there's probably newer ways, but again, so we've got this thing and it just looks like a ruler. Has got ruler lines on it. It's actually, they call it line of chords. So it's got a measurement. I'll put it down somewhere so I can point and talk. It's got a measurement on here. Effectively, it gives you, if you want, 45 degrees. So we can measure that far, and then it's got 2 points that you measure across. So say hypothetically 45 degrees is, 100 mil. So you measure across from point to point, and then that angle will be 45 mil or 30 mil or 60 mil or whatever. So I'm just going to set that up now, just so we get a bit of an idea of what our angle will be. So I've really just guessed that, just thought, oh yeah, that looks okay. So we're not going to be backing the bin all that much. It'll just be, turning. And generally, on other air carts like that are actually factory built, the caster wheels aren't so big. They're probably only, they're 1400, 1.4 metres high. You're probably, I don't know, at a guess, I would have thought your average caster wheel would only be a metre high, something like that. So hopefully it's still going to work all right. Yeah, but anyway, I was gonna try and do some spraying today, but again, I'm got a short day. I've got something on the Sabo, so I reckon I might just chip away here in the shed. I do need to go to town and get some chemical, spray some wild oats, but the guys in town might actually ring up and drop it out anyway. But I might just chip away here, and then, yeah, if something happens, I don't get caught up at the other farm. We've got a bit of spraying in front of us, just fungicide spraying and that sort of thing, so I'll get into that next week. We are at the end of the week again. The days are rolling along pretty quickly. But anyway, we'll chip away here. We'll try and get a few of these holes bored, and yeah, we might be able to get a bit more of this tacked up and these things cut off. So, yeah. So what I've done is, because the heavier you go with your box section, the rounder the radius is on the corners. So I've just got the gas and I've slotted, essentially cut a bit out. So what happens is, I've just got a chair here so I can show you. What'll happen is it'll just hug that bit like that, and then that gap in there, if you can see, isn't as big, so I can fill that up with weld, and then we can put a gusset on this side. That's effectively the angle of how it'll be, and I'll cut that. Don't know what I'll do there yet. We might even cut that off and square it up a bit. Yeah, we could do that. So I'll have a bit of a play here yet. But that angle, I just changed it. We had, it's ended up, I think it's about 65 degrees. I just had a bit of a play with it on the floor here, and it was 70 was a bit steep, and 60 was sort of probably a bit laid back. So I've just sort of split the two. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed it works out all right. So we just had the electrician been. So what he sort of reckoned, and I'm not an electrician, so it's got contactors in the back here just to do with forward and reverse and that sort of stuff. So I've effectively disconnected the reverse side of the lathe because we never use the reverse side of it. And there's must be what he said, essentially a lockout contactor there. So it basically stops you from going from forward to reverse really quickly, and it, damaging the the stuff in the back there, whatever the contacts, that was the word I was looking for. So he's disconnected that, and then he's disconnected the reverse side. So he's thinking that sort of lockout contactor he was talking about, he said it was quite corroded and that, so he's thinking that may be the problem. So we'll just see how we go. Hopefully that's all it is. So I've done a couple of cuts while he was here, and it seemed to work all right. So anyway, got this thing set up here. I've drilled a pilot hole. We're 100 million from the end, so when we get that, weld this on, you can see the notch out I've done there to weld to the other thing. The centre of this hole will be the centre of the axle or the stub. So yeah, hopefully that'll all work out all right. I'm sort of flying a bit blind here with this sort of stuff. It's making it up as we go. Anyway, we'll try this and just see how it goes. With plenty of coolant on it, and we'll run it pretty slow, and fingers crossed we don't break a tooth or destroy it. Otherwise we'll be back to the oxy torch. That didn't go to plan. I didn't sort of expect it to screw the top off it. So, yeah. Thought we might have broken the centre drill or chipped the actual thing itself, but it's, yeah, screwed the top off the... Anyway, so it was working pretty well actually, but not anymore. So we'll put that in the cupboard and try and do something with it another day, but yeah, it's stuffed it. Right. We've reverted back to plan B. So those centre points that I drilled, I've just put a spot of weld in them, filled them in, and then just remarked them with the centre punch. What I've got is I've just got a centre on the oxy torch. I've drilled a hole just so it'll start to cut a bit cleaner rather than trying to melt it and blow it through. And yeah, I'll just do a circle with the oxy torch. Yeah, hopefully it should, well, it'll work all right. It just means we've got to clean it up a bit. It won't be as neat. So yeah, we'll get to and get the 4 of them cut, and yeah, see how precise I am with the oxy torch. Pretty good. Pretty good. We'll just turn the podcast off so I can hear what I'm saying. So hopefully, we've just got a shaft here. So, look at that. You think it grew there. Lucky I'm a samurai with an oxy torch. So yeah, we can weld that in there. I've allowed 10mm at the bottom. That's actually the top, but anyway, that's all right. I've allowed 10mm out the bottom to run a weld round. And then that bush that we've been machining will come down on there when it's in the axle. So yeah, we can essentially tack all that up now and put that on there. I'm going to run out of time today, but anyway, we'll try and get one set up for you so you get a bit of an idea of what we're doing. Taking shape. So know whether you can work that out, but yeah, probably a bit easier to see when it's in the flesh. But what I'm going to do is I'll cut that. I'll just sort of tack this on here to show you, but I'll cut that top off there so we can plate that, and then yeah, we can put another gusset or something in here. But that'll be effectively the far side. Yeah, so hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll work all right, but that's what we're trying to aim at. And I don't know why, I probably should have just bloody cut them with the oxy torch to start with, because they've cut pretty neatly. Yeah, rather than wasting a couple $100 to drill half a hole and then bust the circle cutter anyway. So yeah, so it's slowly taking shape. It's going to be probably a lot heavier than what it needs to be, but I prefer to over-engineer it than under-engineer it and have it fall off. So yeah, we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, I'll square this up now and just make sure it's all square. Yeah, I may even cut that back off again, but I'll just sort of tack it on there just to see how it was going to look. I haven't cut the other bit of shaft for the other side anyway, but I've got another appointment, so I've got to knock off here shortly anyway. So, but yeah, just sort of do a bit this morning and let you guys get a bit of an idea of where we're at. And I want to, yeah, if I don't sort of keep chipping away at it, we'll get consumed by other jobs. So yeah, but anyway, it's going to be all right. So I've chopped the top off that, so it'll be better once we get it up the right way. But effectively what I'll do, I've got a length 150 by 10 mil flat there. So what I'm thinking, I'll probably cut a hole in the plate and just drop it over that as well, and then we'll bring it right across. We'll have to obviously cut a chunk out of that side of it. Oh, probably that side of it. It doesn't quite match up. But that won't matter. But yeah, we'll plate the top of it, and then probably work on a gusset or something in here. I haven't sort of worked that out yet. We'll get it up the right way. But what I can do now is cut that off, come back here somewhere and chop that off, get all that stuff out of the road so you can see, and then we can put a triangle gusset in there, which will probably do both sides. I may even box that in, and just as well, I'll just see. I need to get it up the right way, but we'll get the telehandler, or probably the telehandler, and we can take the weight and then chop it off, and it'll be pretty right. So then I'll get to at some point in time in the next video probably, and do the same there. And then now that the electrician's been, we can get these bushes made up. So now I've sort of got this set up, we know what we're doing, as long as the lathe behaves itself, which hopefully it will. Yeah, we can get that done and get the bushes, and yeah, and then what we need to do is determine our height for once we get them stood up. Whether I originally was thinking I might have just been able to come straight through here with a one bit of 150, but what I might have to do is come through and then actually, or what I'm thinking we might do is basically weld one on top of the other, so just to give it a bit more strength. So if I can find me a bit of chalk, I'll draw you a picture so you get a bit of an idea of what I'm waffling on about. But effectively, if you have, that's your centre pivot, the dirt out of the road, and then if we need to go higher, we can essentially just come up with another bit on the top of it. That bit would finish there, and then we come out wide, and then we have what we're making now will pivot in there, so we don't actually have to have a funny join there. We can overlap that a bit and get a good weld on it, and we can plate it up well, and so make it nice and strong. But it's coming together. It's just, yeah, again, it'd be awesome to be able to use AutoCAD and draw all this up, but I've sort of just got it in my head, and yeah, a bit of a scratch around on the concrete and it. And yeah, I sort of just, when I didn't, like this here, you can see that's sort of 25 mil there. It didn't, I wasn't thinking about having the odd, on the angle rather than having it square, butted in square. So yeah, sort of thought, oh, we'll sort that out and that'll overlap that and it won't be too bad. We can fill it up with weld and it'll come up all right. So there's a bit of a gap there, but that won't matter. A bit of a penetration gap there to fill her in. So yeah, we'll get that welded in and yeah, get a nice strong weld in it. Here comes Brendan back. He's been over cleaning gates up. So yeah, he's just chipping away at the job. So anyway, that'll do for this one. Yeah, thanks again for watching, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Ta-da.